My name is Sam Champong. I'm the regional head of the Chartered Institute of Procurement and Supply for the Middle East and North Africa region. Today, we're going to focus on exactly what this function, this profession actually is all about. It actually involves a lot of things. Total cost of ownership, value creation, risk management, we mentioned those, project management, contracts, ethics, stakeholder management, category management, and many, many things. So procurement is a lot of things, and negotiation. The procurement teams are fully qualified to do procurement and fully skilled to do procurement. And these are some of the organizations in this region, in the Middle East, North Africa region, who have also given a full commitment to that ethos as well. What is the definition of procurement? Because there are many. You see some organizations who have a strategic sourcing department. Some have a supplier relationship management department, and in some organizations, a procurement team was set up to negotiate, and that was their main focus. Category management, supply chain, purchasing, the act or actions involved in obtaining goods and or services for the lowest total cost of ownership. That's pretty much what procurement is. What is total cost of ownership? Because we did say that procurement is the act of obtaining goods and services for the lowest total cost of ownership, not for the lowest price. And obtaining goods and services for the lowest price is something that is not and shouldn't be within the vocabulary. So if you look at what we have in front of us, you may well have a stakeholder, whoever that is, head of your transport department, or your CEO, who's your stakeholder in this case, who says, Mr. Procurement, we need you to buy us, for the company, a cheap car. From a procurement perspective, it's very, very simple. The only thing that defines a cheap car is the specification. That's it, not the price. In looking at the car on the left to the car on the right, it becomes the responsibility of that procurement professional to investigate and ask those questions. So it just so happens that the specification in this case is the organization wants to buy a car to transport 10 employees a day from Dubai to Abu Dhabi, and they need to be there within an hour. The cheap car on the left doesn't meet the specification and therefore is out of the equation. And in this example, the cheap car is the one on the right, because it's the only one that can meet the specification. And a basic concept like that seems to escape the abilities of a lot of people many, many times. So the scenario is you have an organization who are currently running on a revenue basis of, let's say, $100 million. They're making a profit of $30 million, profit, EBIT, whatever you want to call it in this particular scenario, on a very basic level. That's how the organization is running. And from a strategic perspective, they decide they want to increase their profit by 20 million a year. Their profit is currently 30 million, they want to increase it to 50 million, and they want to look at how they can do that strategically as an organization. Now let's assume this is a manufacturing organization. Maybe they manufacture perfumes, let's just say. So there's a couple of ways they can do this. Now, the obvious and I guess the traditional way would be they would increase production, advertising, marketing. The sales and marketing, production influence, in other words. So they want to increase their profit from 30 million to 50 million. And if you look at the example number one, they've done that. They now have a profit, a bottom line of 50 million. And they've done that by increasing their revenue by 50 million. So revenue from 100 million to 150 million. What does a professional procurement department or function do? It does a lot of things, but they fall directly into some main categories. What procurement teams are aspiring to do is to have the right balance of supplier relationship management, contract management, and category management. What is category management? Category management, in effect, is the methods of taking a helicopter view of the spend and activities of an organization in a very holistic way. What's contract management? Contract management, again, seems very basic, but essentially, a lot of people will enter into a contract, and once the services start, that contract will be put in a drawer and out the way, which is the correct thing to do. But the key thing is, before entering into that contract, it should be exactly clear, and everyone should understand what the requirements are. So are you going to have key performance indicators? Are you going to have service level agreements? Are you going to have a cleaning contract that says we want you to provide us with 10 cleaners? Or are you going to have a cleaning contract that says we want our building to be clean? Because those are two very, very different things. The supplier can provide you with 10 cleaners, but how are you going to hold them to account? How are you going to define what your perception of clean is? Ethics is a key consideration for procurement as well, because ethics is quite a complex area, which people think only revolves around people acting in an unethical way or taking bribes or something along those lines. It is actually a very, very key tool of knowledge for a procurement professional.